Man, Simon, it's insane how everyone's binging series on their phones now. In our parents' day, you waited a week for a TV episode. Now, streamers are pumping out content nonstop, no Hollywood middlemen, and they're building fan armies like crazy.
Absolutely, Joe. Folks used to sit like zombies in front of the tube. Now they're just lying in bed with a phone zombie style, I guess. But hey, these streamer guys are shaking things up. Who needs a studio when your bedroom's the new set, right? The game's changed, man.
You're spot on, Simon. Reminds me of this kid from my hometown. Started making sketch comedy videos in his basement, nothing flashy. Now he's got millions watching him. Not traditional media. He just did what he loved. Viewers flocked to him like ants to a picnic, and bam, he's his own boss in this crazy entertainment landscape. Just shows you don't need Hollywood's gloss for success anymore.
Yeah, Hollywood's gloss has nothing on genuine laughs from a basement. It's wild how one person with a camera can outshine a whole TV network now. That kid's got it made.
Right? And get this, the numbers back it up. Traditional TV ratings have dropped as online streaming soars. Some of these online personalities are schooling old media because they interact directly with their audience, like having a conversation, not just broadcasting to an unknown crowd. Plus, subscribing to a channel on a platform like YouTube or Twitch can feel more personal than any cable subscription ever did. It's all about that real-time engagement and feeling part of a community.
Real-time engagement's great and all, but isn't there something weird about how we're more hooked on people living their lives or playing games than scripted shows? Plus, I can't be the only guy who misses the surprise of a TV show. Now you get spoilers just by opening an app. Everyone's connected, sure, but maybe we lost some good stuff too.
I hear you. It is a double-edged sword. There's this nostalgia for the TV era when we'd gather around and experience shows together. The suspense of waiting for next week's episode was real. Now it's all instant gratification. We've gained a lot with streaming and content creators, but yeah, we've lost that collective anticipation. Surprises are rare when spoilers are one click away. Definitely a love-hate relationship with the modern scene, Simon.
Absolutely, a love-hate deal for sure. But here's a thought. Do you reckon there's any chance we'll see a comeback of the old-school scheduled programming? Or are we stuck in this on-demand world forever now?
Actually, some elements of traditional TV are making a comeback through live events and series finales that drop at a set time. Think Game of Thrones, for example. Stats show folks still enjoy that communal viewing experience. Plus, platforms like Disney Plus are releasing episodes weekly, not all at once. It's about striking a balance between the on-demand urge and the collective ritual. And yeah, markets adapt. We might see more hybrid models in future. So, scheduled programming wearing new digital threads. It could happen.
Imagine going back to waiting a week for a show. That's like your microwave telling you, chill, Hot Pockets are a next Thursday thing.
Ha! True, waiting for a hot pocket would be torture. But think about this. The anticipation of waiting also builds hype. Remember water cooler moments? Those don't happen with on-demand binges because everyone's on different episodes. Scheduling can bring back that shared experience. We've seen what happens when things drop all at once. There's buzz, but it's like fireworks, bright and then gone. The slow burn of weekly releases, that's a bonfire that keeps people talking.
Bonfires, huh? Now that's an image. But dude, really? Schedule TV like back in the day, weekly drama and all? Can't picture people signing up to wait around for their TV dinner anymore. Everyone's into the whole watch whatever the heck I want, whenever I want groove. Don't know if they'd swap their binge-watch pajama parties for a clockwork TV guide again.
Hold on. Weekly schedules? Are we really thinking of going retro with our shows? That's like asking people to replace their smartphones with rotary phones. But I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe there's a charm to waiting. Like the difference between fast food and a slow-cooked meal. One fills you quick, the other savored. Maybe there is room for old-school TV in this digital age. It's about crafting that communal vibe again. But man, it's gotta be one heck of a show to draw the binge watchers back to a week-by-week hook.
So check this out. Once knew this guy, name of Terry. He had this old charcoal grill, a relic from his granddad. Now everyone's got fancy gas grills or pellet smokers, right? But not Terry. Every Saturday, he'd fire up that old grill, spend the whole day cooking. Neighbors start sniffing around, and by dinner, it's like a block party. It wasn't just about the food, it was the hours leading up to it, the chats, the laughs, the anticipation. That's what these weekly shows could be. A digital block party where you're actually waiting for the grill to heat up with everyone else.
That's a charming story, but let's face it, nostalgia won't keep people from their instant play buttons. Terry's grill is in the minority. It's like vinyl records against streaming music. Nice for the collectors, sure, but not mainstream anymore. Weekly episodes offer camaraderie, I get it, but streamers have reshaped things completely. They aren't just serving dinner at 7, they're delivering non-stop snacks all day. That's the new norm, Simon. Does the community vibe beat convenience? In today's fast-paced world, I'm not convinced. Remember, showbiz has always morphed with the audience's pulse. If tomorrow bingers want suspense back, someone will cook it up, instantly or slow roasted.
Grill Master Terry's tale hits on something bigger. Streamers aren't just watching shows, they're making the content, turning audiences into creators. That's huge. It's reshaped the whole biz. The anything goes streaming buffet fuels this crazy fast creativity loop. Got an idea? Film it, stream it, and whoosh, you might be the next hit show folks gobble down with their eyes. And this creator fever keeps pushing fresh taste to the top faster than ever, while traditional TV's still preheating its oven.
You've nailed it. User-generated content is skyrocketing, and traditional TV can't keep up the pace. The power's shifted. Viewers are calling the shots now, with every upload potentially the next big thing. It's a creator's world out there, Simon.
Man, everyone's a creator now. You post a video of your cat coughing, and suddenly you're directing Coughing Cats, the musical off Broadway. It's a wild time when Mr. Whiskers gets more views than the 6 o'clock news.
Mr. Whiskers headlining over primetime anchors? Guess it's true what they say. Give the internet a cat video, and they'll make you king for a day. So long, couch potatoes. We're all cat video cultivating creators now.
I gotta step up my game, huh? Instead of watching reruns on the couch, I'm out here trying to teach my goldfish to do backflips. Gotta get them views, brother.
Ha! From couch potato to goldfish acrobat manager, that's quite the leap. Views or not, you're part of the evolution, Simon. Speaking of changes, how about we dive into what this shift means for the future of content? Is everyone truly cut out to be a creator?
Man, it's not just about being a creator, it's what kind of creator, right? You've got these polished Hollywood flicks, and then the raw deal, streamers going live, nothing up their sleeve. Which one's actually reeling people in more these days? You think a script is still king, or are we all just craving that off-the-cuff chaos?
Chaos reigns, Simon. But don't count scripts out just yet. Streamers may be stealing the spotlight with their genuine goofs and gaffes. That's gold for reality-hungry viewers. Yet there's a craft to storytelling that raw streams can't always hit. Ever try to watch a streamer without that spark? It's like watching paint dry. Hollywood's got its magic too. A well-timed twist, a perfect line. Raw doesn't always mean real, and polished doesn't mean plastic. The trick is finding that sweet spot.
Polished scripts have their place, no doubt, like a Michelin-starred meal that's been fussed over. But real talk, streamer culture's serving up the street food of entertainment. It's messy, it's spicy, and you never know what you're going to get. That uncertainty, it's magnetic. Look at viewership stats. Live streams can explode while some TV premieres flatline. We're rubbernecking for authenticity, and scripted shows just can't give us those raw, unedited burps of reality.
Simon, you hit a nerve there. Seeing numbers tilt towards live streams does feel like we're witnessing a cultural shift. It's more than just trends, it's about wanting to connect with something real. That spontaneity on live streams, it resonates, man. Because everyone's lives are unscripted, messy, and yeah, sometimes as thrilling as a bowl of spicy instant ramen at 2 a.m. Makes you think, maybe we're looking in that raw, unpolished mirror because it feels less lonely, more us.
You ever have one of those late-night grub runs? I remember trekking out for tacos with a buddy at like midnight. The taco spot, no glitz, just a cart and an old grill. The guy making them? He'd been layering flavors in those things for years. No recipe book in sight, just him and his instincts. Every bite was an adventure. Now think about that compared to some fancy restaurant with overpriced, predetermined courses. That's what streamer culture feels like. Not the rehearsed dance of fine dining, but the messy, hearty authenticity of street tacos at midnight.
Reminds me of my college days, Simon. End of semester, cramming for finals, the stress level through the roof. Then, out of nowhere, we'd kick off impromptu jam sessions in the dorm. No plan, no sheet music. It was a mess of genres and skills mashed together. But that raw sound, it drew a crowd every time. People brought their instruments, their voices, their claps. Sure, we admired the pro bands with their sleek tracks, but nothing beat our spontaneous symphony. In its imperfection, there was something everyone would lean into, a real moment we were all part of, like streamer culture today.
Spontaneous dorm jams sound spot on, but let's give credit where it's due. A tight script can hit like nothing else. You ever get that chill from a movie scene so perfectly crafted you could swear it was real life? That takes talent. Still, there's that itch only raw streamer moments can scratch, where anything goes, and often does. Seems folks flock to those anything can happen vibes. It's human nature to crave the unexpected. Like improv comedy. We're all just living for the next punchline, and scripted stuff might be too rehearsed to land it anymore.
If you're just joining us, I'm chatting with Simon about the tug of war between scripted entertainment and the wild west of live streamer culture. It's like comparing a blockbuster movie to the realness of street performers going off script. Both have their magic. One gives you that flawless storyline, while the other pulls you in with its unpredictability. Yeah, we dig our cinematic masterpieces, but those unfiltered moments on stream? They make viewers feel right in the middle of the action, never knowing what's coming next. Lately, it seems the scales are tipping towards spontaneity, and boy, is it a fun ride.
So Joe, diving deeper into that idea, what is it about that unpredictable nature of live streamer culture that's got everyone so hooked? Is it just the thrill of not knowing what's next, or is there more to this shift in where we're hanging our viewing hats these days?
You're onto something there. It's not just the thrill of unpredictability that hooks viewers, it's also the relatability factor. People resonate with mistakes, they're humanizing. Stream fails, they're gold mines for comedy. A scripted show might make us laugh, but a streamer accidentally spilling coffee all over their keyboard mid-rant, that's unscripted life, straight no chaser. Seeing someone handle the mishap in real time, that's where connection sparks. Plus, fail compilations become their own brand of binge-worthy content, a testament to our "it's funny because it's true" attraction to streams.
Absolutely. The comedy of errors is its own charm, and those spills and thrills resonate because we've all been there. In our polished world, those authentic blunders show us that it's okay to be imperfect. Makes me think, as much as we crave that polished storytelling, maybe we're starting to value unfiltered human moments more. Who knows what'll tip the scales in the end? The plot, as they say, thickens.
Speaking of authentic blunders, Simon, it seems we can't get enough of those live stream fails. You've seen those compilations, right? Where everything that can go wrong does, and instead of editing it out, it becomes the main event. It's like a blooper real time with no safety net, and we eat it up. Let's jump into some hilarious mishaps on streams and what they mean for streamer culture. Ever watch someone's setup fall apart mid-broadcast? Now that's entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. I'll never forget this one time I was streaming, right? There I am, deep into this epic gaming moment, and what happens? My cat, Whiskertron 3000, decides it's the perfect time to make her grand entrance. Jumps right onto my keyboard. Boom! Game over, man. But here's the kicker. People loved it. The chat blew up, and that clip got passed around more than a hot potato at a barbecue. Goes to show, you can't plan the moments that really connect with folks. They're just waiting for life or a cat to happen.
That's classic, Simon. But let's not glorify these fails too much. Sure, Whiskertron 3000 turned your stream into a viral hit. Props to the cat. Yet not all fails are created equal. Take tech glitches. Some can torpedo a channel faster than you can say buffering. Yeah, a good laugh is one thing, but when someone's gear crashes hard in the middle of a heartfelt moment or a critical gameplay, the joke can get lost in frustration. It's a thin line between a memorable fail and just plain old failing.
So true, Joe. It can get real rough when tech goes nuclear mid-heart to heart. You're in the zone, sharing something deep, and then wham, your stream's dead as a doornail. I've been there. It leaves you feeling more disconnected than an old dial-up internet connection. That kind of fail doesn't bring laughs. It brings a big old bag of stress. The audience gets the raw end too, like being cut off mid-convo. Nobody walks away happy when the fail's not funny. Tough stuff, man. Tough stuff.
However, Simon, consider this. Even when tech takedowns are a streamer's nightmare, sometimes they can inadvertently help build that community feel. Here's why. Those brutal moments of disconnect can act as weird bonding experiences. Everyone in the chat suddenly becomes part of a "we're in this together" narrative. They start troubleshooting, offering support, or even sharing their own horror stories. It becomes a communal moment. And let's not forget how overcoming a fail can become legend. Remember when Simon powered through that blackout and still nailed the stream? Not all heroes wear capes. Some carry Ethernet cables.
Well, that's one way to see it, Joe. But on the flip side, think about how those tech fails can dent a streamer's rep. Viewers tune in for smooth sailing, not to watch someone flounder with cables. And let's face it, constant issues aren't exactly why the subscribe button gets smashed. Consistency is king in streaming land. A study pointed out that viewership drops significantly after just 2 minutes of buffering or technical hiccups. People might rally once, but keep glitching, and they'll bail faster than you can say, oops. It's survival of the fittest, and even Ethernet cables can't always save you.
Absolutely, Simon. Stats don't lie. The Amazon-owned platform Twitch boasts over 140 million unique monthly viewers, and they're there for content that flows. Dropping frames or disconnects can hurt. In fact, as per a tech report, a viewer's loyalty dips by around 20% with every 100 milliseconds of latency. And that same study suggested that after just 2 hiccups in a live stream, viewership can nosedive by 50%. Keeping the stream health green, that's the gold standard. But let's be real, when fails do happen and they're handled with grace, that's where legends are born. Think Doc Lupo or Pokimane, bigger because they roll with the punches. The fail becomes part of their story arc. You mess up, you own it, you become relatable, and subscribers love the authenticity. It's a tightrope walk between professionalism and keeping it real, my friend.
All right, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. So those technical oopsies can humanize you, and sure, handling it with class can score you points in the authenticity department. However, suppose every stream is like walking through a minefield of mess-ups. I'm talking your camera's wonky one day, your mic fades out the next. You might don cyber wings as the phoenix of fails, rising from the tech wreck, but how many comebacks until viewers just want to watch someone who has their act together? Everybody loves an underdog story until they get bored of the reruns, Joe.
Yes, can't argue with that. Honestly, when you put it that way, Simon, I feel it. Every time we fire up the mics and cameras, there's a bit of performance anxiety. Are we going to hit a home run or strike out because of some tech snafu? It grinds my gears thinking about all the prep and passion we put in just to have a glitch steal the show. Viewers do deserve the slick production they signed up for, no doubt. The charm of the comeback story wears thin if you're always coming back from the same old problem. That hits home.
For sure. And let's not forget that clicking stream is like opening your living room to the world. You don't want the place looking like a mess with wires all over and screens crashing. It's about balance, handling fails with humor when they strike, yet nailing a clean stream as often as you can. The Climb Up Mount follower counts on more than just bounce-back spirit. It relies on delivering quality without the hiccups. So we deal with the mishaps, but behind the scenes, it's all about sidestepping the banana peels before they land us in another blooper reel. Consistency is king, but when the jester of technical chaos shows up, you gotta know how to make the court laugh with you, not at you.
Absolutely, Simon. We juggle the performance and the pitfalls, aiming for perfection, but ready to riff on the ridiculous when tech goes rogue. And hey, those fail compilements, they'll keep coming, because let's be real, when it comes to live streaming, there's always a banana peel just around the corner. But you know what? That's kind of what keeps it exciting. So listeners, what are your favorite streamer fail stories? Where do you stand? More polished streams, or do you crave some chaos?
And speaking of the chaos and creativity in streaming, Joe, it's wild how these platforms aren't just about live gaffes anymore. The game's changing, right? Streamers are stepping up, making their own films, their own series. It's like a plot twist in the entertainment world, from sharing gameplay to potentially shaping cinema. Imagine that. Could these new players actually go toe-to-toe with the big studios? What do you think? Is there room for streamer-produced flicks at the Oscars table?
So Simon, what do you think is the key ingredient that could see streamer-produced content not just sitting at the Oscars table, but actually winning an award? Is it raw storytelling, innovative use of technology, or something else entirely?
You know, Joe, the thought of streamer-produced content getting Oscar nods really fires me up. It's not just about the tech or the flash, it's raw storytelling that catches the heart. It makes me hopeful and excited, honestly. Anyone with a story can shine, no fancy studio required. I feel like we're standing at the dawn of something special, where passion meets possibility, and that could change everything.
I'm with you on the passion, Simon, but let's be realistic here. Even if a streamer has the storytelling chops, can they truly match the spectacle and polish of studio giants? I'm talking resources, connections, budgets that dwarf what even the most successful streamers could crowdfund. There's charm in grassroots productions, sure, but can they deliver on a scale that rivals the likes of Marvel? The Oscars table is a long one, but those seats are pricey.
Whoa, Joe, hold up. Are we actually seeing streamers stepping into Hollywood's turf now? That's wild. But it's like David versus Goliath, man. These streamers have the heart, maybe even some killer ideas, but going up against the studio Goliaths with their mega budgets and special effects armies? Tough sell. However, imagine if they did pull it off. I mean, it could flip the whole script on what makes a movie Oscar-worthy. Could bring a whole new flavor to the popcorn. You know?
Definitely a game changer, Simon. But how do you reckon the big studios might react to this shift? Could we see them adapt or even collaborate with these up-and-coming streamer producers for a fresh take on filmmaking?
Oh, man, picture this. The big studios, right? They're like the cool kids on the block who notice that the new kids, streamers, are pulling some sweet moves. Instead of a showdown, they say, join our crew. Studios could leverage that fresh streamer creativity while backing them with the big-time resources. It's not just adapt to survive, it's evolve to thrive. We'd get movies with Hollywood glitz and that raw streaming spirit. Now, wouldn't that be something?
Absolutely, Simon. But here's the kicker. Suppose the big studios do bring streamers into the fold. There's a risk the unique voice that makes streamer content so different gets diluted. You think the studios might let streamers keep their offbeat style, or are we looking at creative clashes and sellout fears? Because let's face it, originality is what makes streamer content pop, but Hollywood, it loves its formulas. Could be quite the tug of war.
Yeah, Joe, that's like asking a cat to live with mice and not cause chaos. There'd be streamers trying to keep it real, while execs are all about those sequels, prequels, and reboots. Next thing you know, Streamer Goes Hollywood becomes its own movie genre, half indie vibe, half explosion fest. And the tagline? When two worlds collide, who keeps their subscriber count? Cue dramatic music, popcorn showers, and 4D smell-o-vision, because we can't just watch movies anymore, right? We gotta feel them.
Haha, what a spectacle that would be. Mixing indie spirit with big budget flash, it's almost unheard of. But honestly, Simon, if we're bringing smell-o-vision into the mix, I say bring on the chaos. This mashup could totally revitalize cinema. It's uncharted territory and might just breathe new life into an industry that some say has gotten stale. If streamers can stay true to their roots amidst the Hollywood polish, we just might witness the birth of a whole new era in film.
I mean, Joe, if streamers stick to what got them the spotlight, bold stories, relatable characters, and then mix that with Hollywood's shiny toys, we could see something epic. It's like your mom's classic recipe getting a gourmet twist. There's potential for greatness or a taste bud disaster. Staying true to their roots will be key. I'd watch that revolution from my couch with a giant tub of buttery optimism. We're talking indie meets blockbuster, creating films too intriguing to ignore. Could be a golden ticket.
Totally, Simon. Mixing indie spirit with big budget glam could give us the best of both worlds, or both could crash and burn. It's an exciting prospect, one that'll surely keep evolving. Maybe our audience has some thoughts. What do you guys think? Will streamer-produced films find their groove alongside Hollywood greats, or are we dreaming too big?
Hey Joe, thinking about indie meets blockbuster got me thinking. It's not just film formats that are changing, it's language too. Streaming's like this secret club with its own words. Ever caught yourself dropping a GG in a work email? Or what's your take on the way these streaming terms have woven into day-to-day chat? I'm over here trying to keep up, and let's not even start on the parents trying to decode when their kids say they're feeling PogChamp today.
Right? It's fascinating how gaming and streaming lingo is slipping into the mainstream. Like GG started as good sportsmanship among gamers, a quick way to say good game, but now it's everywhere. And terms like PogChamp that captured excitement and hype, they're more than just words. They express emotions shorthand, born from gaming culture caught on camera. We're seeing this digital dialect cross over not just among youth, but it's seeping into professional and casual conversations alike. Language evolution, live in action.
Yeah, take Kappa, for instance. It's the go-to for online sarcasm now, right? Born on Twitch, and it basically telegraphs a raised eyebrow or a nudge under the table when someone's pulling your leg. But think about it. These words are like little bridges between screen life and real life. You've got streamer jokes becoming inside jokes at the office. What blows my mind is how quick this lingo jumps from niche communities to our everyday talk. It's language evolution on turbo, with emotes turning into emotions. Wild times.
Absolutely. It does spread like wildfire, Simon. But here's my pushback. Are we maybe trivializing our language with oversimplified emotes and one-size-fits-all phrases? There's a nuance in face-to-face sarcasm that a kappa can't capture. And the speed at which these terms go viral is insane, no doubt. But does this quick adoption mean we're embracing digital culture, or are we just parroting buzzwords without really grasping their origins? It seems cool, sure, but isn't there also a risk of creating an echo chamber where originality takes a back seat to memeable moments?
Fair point, Joe. There's a line between lingo making us feel connected and just regurgitating internet catchphrases. Originality could be at stake if we don't mix it up and know the backstory behind what we're actually saying.
Oh, this reminds me of a funny story. I was at a family dinner, trying to explain what I do for a living to my grandpa. As I'm talking about gaming and podcasting, he suddenly slaps the table and shouts, "Bingo!" We all stare until he proudly explains that in his day, bingo was their PogChamp. That moment hit me. Every generation has its buzzwords, little time capsules of culture. His bingo was an epic win, just like our GGs. It's all about sharing those small victories, but the lingo shifts with the landscape.
Man, that's wholesome. That bingo moment with your grandpa, it hits you right in the feels, doesn't it? It's the same rush, the same human celebration, just different words for the times. It makes me think of all the high fives I've missed out on lately. Stuff like that becomes so clear at a family table. PogChamp, GG, bingo. It's generational high fives all around. Underscores how we're all after those fist pump moments, no matter the decade. Now, every time someone drops a GG in chat, I'll be thinking of your grandpa's bingo and grinning like an idiot.
Ha! Well, Simon, nostalgia aside, let's not get too misty-eyed about it. The reality is today's GG serves a similar purpose to the bingo of yesteryear, sure. But here's the thing. Each new term that pops up on Twitch or YouTube gaming, it's speeding up how we communicate, but also narrowing it down. Are we maybe losing out on richer ways to express ourselves? Every PogChamp is easy and relatable, but what complex feelings are we glossing over with those emote-driven shorthand responses? It's awesome to make global connections, yet important to ask, does this lazy lexicon leave our vocab skinny dipping in the shallow end?
Absolutely, Joe. Terms like PogChamp or GG might simplify things too much. We grab these phrases like they're free candy, right? But what you're asking is spot on. Are we losing the flavor of our full language palette by sticking to the basics? When every win is PogChamp, doesn't that epic headshot or masterful strategy deserve more than just the gaming world's version of cool? The issue ain't the words themselves, but how we're benching the rest of our vocab for this easy play. It's about striking a balance, like seasoning your fries just right, not too bland, not oversalted.
Of course, Simon. It's all about not overdoing it, keeping our verbal meals flavorful without overpowering them with too much sauce. Maybe we'll dissect more gamer lingo next time, see how else it's influencing or being influenced by everyday speech. Until then, what are some old school terms you think deserve a comeback? Or maybe there's new gamer slang you guys feel is underrated. Let's hear it in the comments, folks.
Before we jump off the digital deep end, let's not forget those little pixel party starters. Emotes. They're like hieroglyphs for the internet age, right? Think about how a simple smiley face can say you're happy without typing a word. Now imagine a sea of emotes in a chat during a live stream. It's an emotional explosion. How's that for impact on our communication? We're trading in sentences for symbols, and it sets the mood faster than lighting scented candles at a seance. Let's dig into these teeny expressions making big waves online. What's your take, Joe?
Emotes as modern hieroglyphs, huh? It's a cool analogy. You think this is really cutting down on the depth of our interactions, or just streamlining emotional expression for the digital age?
Interesting thought, Joe. So you're asking if emotes are just a shortcut for our feelings. Is that squashing the chance to really dive into what we're feeling, or is it just the next step in how we talk when we're all online together?
I lean towards it being a shortcut. Emotes pack a punch visually, but often at the expense of depth. It's like we're boiling down these complex human emotions to single images. You lose nuance there. In face-to-face chats, a smile or frown comes with body language, tone, context that a tiny pixel can't fully convey. Yet in fast-paced streams, where chat whizzes by like cars on a racetrack, emotes give viewers a quick-fire way to react en masse. They create a communal vibe instantly, like everyone laughing at a joke together. But surely there are times when a row of crying laugh faces just isn't the same as a detailed message sharing heartfelt laughter, right?
Definitely, Joe. Just spamming laugh cry faces kinda cheapens the whole deal when something's actually hilarious. It's like laughing gas at the dentist. Sure, it gets the job done, but it ain't the same as cracking up until your stomach hurts. There's a trade-off. We're sacrificing storytelling for speed. Sure, emotes unite us in this instant reactions club, but at what cost to personal expression? What depth are we losing when we swap words for symbols? I'd argue that sometimes what you need is a good old-fashioned LOL that carries your unique chuckle with it, not just an overused image.
Agreed, Simon. When everyone in chat is just spamming emotes, it's like a standing ovation where no one's really sure who stood up first. It's automatic. But here's a wrench to throw into our gears. Maybe this emote explosion tells us more about the streamer and community than the individual. Like if someone uses a rare emote tied to an inside joke or channel meme, that's them wearing their team jersey. Isn't there a cultural fingerprint within those pixels? Yet, as much as they bind viewers into a tribe, are they also boxing us into pre-made emotional reactions? Where's the line between a shared culture and a copy-paste culture?
For sure, Joe. It's like when your favorite team scores and everyone in the stands goes wild. That's how it feels when an emote explodes in the chat. Yeah, you're part of a tribe, you're all in on the joke, but no doubt, it's easy to just float along with the tribe's currents. Here's the rub. We end up wearing our emotions like those cardboard masks at football games. You're part of the action, sure, but are you really showing you? Are we just slapping on these pixel masks and losing that individual spark? It begs the question, when does sharing become parroting? Aren't we just echoing each other instead of crafting something fresh from our own thought cooker?
You nailed it, Simon. Masks, exactly. It makes you wonder if we're sacrificing unique emotion on the altar of community hype. Are we becoming a crowd of emote zombies? Think about it. In a stream with thousands of viewers, dropping an emote is shouting with a megaphone, "Look, I'm here. I get it. I belong." But does anyone remember individual reactions? Doubtful. Remember that legendary game where someone in the crowd made everyone crack up with a sign? That's personality. That's memorable. So while emotes are the glue keeping the chat cohesive, it might be time to question, are they also peeling away layers of our individuality?
Absolutely. It's like everyone is just chanting the same 2 or 3 cheers. Emote zombies? I'd buy that t-shirt. Here's what grinds my gears. In becoming these pixel-perfect community members, we're kind of losing our own stories. Sure, dropping an emote means you're one with the crew, a badge of honor, but badges don't say much about the person underneath, do they? Like that legendary sign in the crowd, we need more of those unscripted moments that stick with you, not just an instant wave of sameness drowning out individual quirks. Emotes bond us, no denying, but sometimes you gotta step out of the chorus line and belt out your solo. You know? Stand out in the sea of symbols.
Ha, emote zombies. That's a trip, man. It's all about balance, right? You want to be part of the group but not lost in it. Like, I'm all for a shared laugh or gasp, but come on, where's the originality? Remember back when comments were stories, jokes, rants, not just thumbs up and fire emojis? It's like we're tossing out bits of who we are for convenience. And hey, convenience is king, sure, but let's not forget the art of conversation. Express yourself. Throw your unique color on the canvas. Don't just emote, elevate, man.
Couldn't agree more, Joe. It's a real toss-up between joining in on the emote wave or paddling out with your own style. No doubt, though, that emotes are here to stay. They're like the fast food of emotions, quick, easy, and sorta satisfying. But if we rely only on them, do we risk missing out on the full flavor of a hearty conversation? There's so much room here for both the artist and the emoji enthusiast. So what else are we sacrificing for speed? And where will this emote journey take us next? Let's keep that chat rolling.
Ha, talking about emotes and individual expression kind of rolls us right into the meme fest that is streamer slang. It's like another language. You think you're just diving into a casual chat, and suddenly it's KK, Monka S, and Papega all over the place. This lingo is spawning faster than mobs in an XP farm. So folks, let's shift gears and have some fun. We're going meme magic on this one. Ever found yourself absolutely bamboozled by streaming speak? Let's dive into that lighter side. It's pure comedy gold sometimes.
Oh, meme magic is right. It's like everyone got a secret decoder ring, and I missed the memo. The first time I heard someone drop PogChamp in real life, I thought they were talking about a new energy drink or something. And don't get me started on big brain play. I mean, I'm flattered, but my noggin size is pretty average, let's be honest. You've got to admit, streamer slang has us regular chatters feeling like we've stumbled into an alternate universe where words have been replaced by this meme. Morse code.
Counterpoint, Simon, streamer speak isn't just meme Morse code. It's a cultural shorthand that's way more than random noise. When someone says PogChamp, they're not chatting about beverages. They're hailing a moment of pure awesomeness, like an epic gamer move or shocking plot twist. And big brain play, that's genius level strategy praise right there, not noggin size. This slang bridges the gap between diverse viewers, creating instant bonds. It's fast language evolution at work. Terms that might have seemed outlandish years ago are now pivotal in online communication. Sure, it can be bewildering for newbies, but it's also welcoming once you've got the lingo down. It's legit magic how a few words can create such unity.
Okay, cultural shorthand. I'll buy that. But come on, Joe, there's gotta be a line. Just the other day, someone said they were going to yeet this win. I'm like, do I need an English to gamer dictionary now? It's all good for veterans, but it's a wild safari for anyone new to the scene. And what about when these memes and slang jump out of their digital petri dish into the real world? You try explaining sus to your grandma after she asks why you're not eating her casserole. It's a comedy, sure, but sometimes it feels like we're just throwing words at the wall to see what emotes. I mean, sticks.
Man, that takes me back to this one time I scored VIP tickets to an esports finale. Packed venue, the energy was electric. A social media paradise, memes in their natural habitat. I felt like Indiana Jones navigating through a jungle of inside jokes. So I'm there with my buddy, let's call him Dave, who's as offline as they come. Suddenly, mid-match, a player pulls off this unbelievable move and the crowd erupts, shouting, "Poggers!" Dave, bless him, thinks they're calling for a player named Rogers. He starts chanting, "Rogers, Rogers," looking around all confused when no one joins in. It was hilarious, but also this perfect slice of life piece showing how streaming speak can be a whole new ball game for some. It's moments like these where you see just how spirited and tight-knit the community is, yet it highlights that not everyone's up on the lingo.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Poor Dave turned into an accidental solo act. But didn't he ask you what poggers meant after the crowd went wild? Or did he ride out the whole event thinking they were cheering for this mysterious Rogers?
Dave wrote it out, clueless till the end. He didn't want to admit he was lost in translation, so figured it was a player's nickname. Told him after, we had a good laugh about it.
Oh man, that's both sweet and a little heartbreaking. Poor Dave, just trying to roll with the punches. It really hits you in the feels, doesn't it? I can imagine him cheering on Rogers with all his might, thinking he's got it right. It makes you realize how these shared languages can be exclusive sometimes, and missing out can leave someone feeling like an outsider looking in. It's funny, but also a good nudge for all of us to remember to help bridge that gap for the Daves of the world.
You're spot on, but let's not forget how side-splitting these mix-ups can be, like a game of telephone gone rogue. Picture this. Dave now mythologizes the legendary Rogers, the invisible esports champ no one else can see. It's almost poetic. In a meme culture moment, Dave inadvertently creates the next big gaming folklore. Could you imagine the merch? Have you seen Rogers? Shirts flying off the virtual shelves.
I get the giggles, but let's rewind. What if Rogers actually caught fire? It would be peak internet, randomness turned legend. Creating a whole backstory for a ghost player from a mix-up? Now that's something the meme lords would feast on. Sometimes these blunders become the punchline we never knew we needed. The underground heroes of our streams aren't just the players, it's the Daves and their Rogers moments that keep things spicy. That's the magic, Joe. Unexpected gold nuggets in a river of routine slang.
Sure, unexpected gold nuggets are cool, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Not every mix-up is going to birth a meme sensation like Rogers. If it were that easy, I'd be unintentionally funny on purpose. Memes have this unpredictable alchemy. What clicks is often lightning in a bottle, almost impossible to replicate or predict. The internet's whims are fickle. For every Rogers moment that becomes a legend, 1,000 others fizzle out faster than you can say Pepega. It's wild. Streaming speak isn't just about creating private jokes. Sometimes it's the cosmic comedy of errors. We're all part of this larger narrative where anything could be the next big laugh.
Alrighty, fresh listeners. You've hopped right into our wild ride through the whimsical world of streaming slang. We're gabbing about the hilarity that erupts when meme lingo meets real-world mishaps. Think crying, laughing emoji come to life. Our bud Joe shared a gutbuster. A guy at an esports event mishears audience cheers, turns poggers into Rogers, and inadvertently becomes his own comedy show. It's all in good fun, the beautiful chaos of trying to keep up with internet culture's fast-paced language. Welcome aboard this meme train. Choo choo.
Welcome aboard, latecomers. You're chilling with us on Infinite Podcast, diving headfirst into the chaotic and hilarious universe of streaming slang. We shared tales of misadventures in Comland where simple phrases like poggers can leave a newbie looking for the exit sign in a maze of memes. We met Dave, our hero who cheered for the phantom player Rogers, a side-splitting example of when streamer speak gets lost in translation. It's a comedic blend of internet culture shock and those gotta-be-there moments that make our digital world spin. Stick around as we unpack more streaming speak shenanigans.
For sure, streamer slang is pure meme alchemy. But here's a thought. What if the next Rogers moment is just waiting to be shouted out by an innocent noob in the crowd? This meme magic isn't just about the words, it's the people behind them. What do you all think? Has streaming speak turned communication into a game within a game?
Absolutely, the lifeblood of meme magic is the people, the fresh-faced newcomers, and the seasoned chat veterans alike. Each blunder or in-joke isn't just a tick on the scoreboard, it's a community member making their mark. And that brings us to an intriguing point. This social syntax shift we're all witnessing. Will stream speak survive going mainstream? Historically, niche languages have broken out to wider audiences. Look at surfer slang from the 70s, gnarly, tubular, phrases that were totally radical at the time. Now they're part everyday talk for some people. Could poggers be the next cool? The benefits are there. Vibrant new words can add flavor to our daily convo soup. But there's a risk too. Terms might lose their charm, becoming as overused as a pop song played on loop. Forecasting the future evolution of online customs is like predicting the weather in a digital realm. Partly educated guess mostly roll with the changes. As these customs intersect with how we consume global media, will we see a blending of genres, a collision of communication that shapes our very syntax? Ghastly thought or possible prophecy? Let's dive into that one.
Joe, you got me thinking. If poggers became as common as cool, do you think it'd lose its spark? Would gamers just hunt for a new term to keep the Insiders Club exclusive?
Definitely, Simon. See, once a term like poggers hits peak mainstream, its original thrill for gamers could fade. It's no longer the secret handshake it once was. This isn't just about keeping an Insiders Club exclusive. It's about preserving a sense of identity and community. Gamers will likely scout out or invent fresh lingo to keep that feeling alive, because when your cool words get co-opted by everyone from your little cousin to the morning talk show host, they lose their zing. The cycle continues. Culture expands, language evolves. It's the endless game within the game of communication. And in this game, the quest for newness is just as important as the words themselves.
Right on. But let's not forget how some hardcore gamers might actually roll their eyes at the thought of their sacred slang hitting mom-and-pop status. Could mainstreaming strip away the cultural richness, turning a vibrant lexicon into just another overused hashtag? I say we guard the good stuff like a dragon hoards treasure. If everything's for everyone, doesn't something get lost along the way? Unique cultures thrive on having their own language. Take that away, and you're left with a bland alphabet soup. No spicy meatballs in sight.
Simon, you've hit it right in the feels. When you've been part of building something, a community with its own heartbeat and language, seeing it diluted can sting. We've poured ourselves into this culture. It's more than just words. It's our shared experience, our homegrown vibe. Seeing unique lingo get sucked into the vortex of mainstream use is like watching your favorite indie band go top 40. There's pride in their success, but a pang of loss for the intimate concerts you used to share with just a few. It's not about gatekeeping. It's about holding on to that secret sauce that makes our community ours. So yeah, guard the good stuff because those spicy meatballs, they're the flavor in our alphabet soup. Without them, we're all just sipping on the same bland broth.
Yeah, totally get that. It's like this time I was at a dive bar overseas, stumbling through with my broken Spanish. The local band there? Oh man, they were killer, had their own flair, playing regional hits I'd never heard before. I felt like I'd discovered gold. A few months later, their songs everywhere. My exclusive find became everyone's ringtone. There was this sense of whatchamacallit, personal loss. The tunes that connected me to that small town bar felt less special. In the same way, StreamSpeak is our little corner of the internet. Once it goes global, can we keep that quality, or do we end up with just another one-hit wonder on repeat? The whole essence is at stake here, not just words and phrases, but the culture they've built.
Honestly, Simon, you're nailing that point home. It's like music or comedy. Once it's out there, you can't control where it goes or who latches onto it. That feeling of discovery, the raw connection with something niche, that's hard to keep when suddenly it's not just yours anymore. You lose the underground feel, and yeah, it stings a bit. But I guess that's life. Things evolve, scenes change. Still, as much as we crave that exclusivity, there's also beauty in seeing something you love reach more people. The trick is finding that balance where it grows, but keeps its soul intact. With streaming slang, we've built a community. Sure, it might expand and shift, but let's focus on keeping the spirit alive, even if the words get passed around like a viral cat meme.
But hey, imagine this. What if poggers somehow ends up in the Oxford Dictionary? Would that be the ultimate badge of honor or the final nail in the coffin for StreamSpeak's cool factor?
Adding poggers to the Oxford Dictionary wouldn't be unprecedented. The dictionary has a history of absorbing contemporary terms, symbolizing their cemented place in language. Take the word selfie. Once a novel term confined to social media, it became mainstream and earned its spot in the dictionary. Such recognition can be double-edged, validating the cultural impact of StreamSpeak while simultaneously signaling its departure from a covert communicative code to a universally recognized piece of the English lexicon. As for StreamSpeak's survival, linguistic evolution is about adaptation. Just as Latin evolved into the Romance languages over centuries, internet lingo may branch off or merge with standard discourse. With global media consumption habits constantly evolving and online platforms influencing daily communication, it's likely that terms coined in streaming will continue to permeate mainstream talk, but they'll transform, make room for new jargon, or become nostalgic footnotes in our ever-evolving dialogue.
All right, brace for this curveball. Does slapping poggers into the Oxford Dictionary actually rob it of its grassroots charm? By making it official, we stamp out its very essence. It's the Wild West of words in StreamSpeak. No rules, just pure, unadulterated expression. Trust me, the moment academics start dissecting KEW, that's when the magic wanes and the eye-rolling starts. Can't we just let StreamSpeak be the rebel lingo without trying to tame it with a dictionary entry? Let's not suffocate our digital dialects in the name of linguistic longevity. Keep it rogue. Keep it real.
Man, Simon, you do have a way of tossing the real talk like a live grenade. Can't help but agree with you. The thought alone does more than just itch. It gets under your skin because it's so personal to us. Our streams speak evolving from this grassroots badge of honor into another sterile entry among thousands. It's gutting. The no-rules territory is what gave birth to the lingo we love. It's the digital soapbox where we stand and shout out to the world. It's not about gatekeeping. It's about cherishing that fleeting magic before it becomes a relic. When academia grabs hold of our rogue vocabulary, I can practically hear the collective groan from the community. We didn't sign up for this kind of mainstream acceptance. We signed up for tribal fires and rough edges. It stirs something deep inside, like watching a childhood hideout get bulldozed for a parking lot. Let's rally behind keeping it rogue, keep it breathing, living on our screens and tongues, untamed as ever.
Wild idea. What if in 50 years, poggers is so old school, it'll be like us saying 23 skidoo? Future kids could be snickering at us trying to stay hip with our ancient gamer slang. Now that's a time capsule I'd love to see opened.
Ha! Spot on. I can just picture us as the out-of-touch old-timers throwing around poggers while the youngsters mock us with their holographic memes or whatever future tech's got in store. Speaking of time capsules and personal expression, this makes me think about how we craft our identities online, especially through our customized avatars. In a way, creating an avatar is like choosing how you'd want to be seen if given complete control. No different from picking retro slang to shape your vibe. We're not only talking about aesthetics, but psychology here, the motivations behind why we design our digital selves one way or another. Does a fierce warrior avatar mean someone's asserting their strength, or is it purely fantasy? There are studies showing that our virtual look can even change our behavior in the real world. Ever heard about the Proteus effect? It's wild how pixels and personality mingle. Let's unpack that.
Custom avatars, huh? It's like Build-A-Bear for your ego. You go in picking eye colors and hairdos, low-key crafting Mr. or Mrs. Perfect. I saw a buddy of mine make his look like a Greek god mixed with a My Little Pony. Talk about identity crisis.
Your buddy's Greek god meets My Little Pony avatar is the perfect segue, Simon. It illustrates how we mix ideal self-concepts with whimsical, fantastical elements when given free rein in digital spaces. That's not just random choice, it's a psychological playground. Now, diving deeper, the Proteus effect I mentioned earlier, it suggests that if you've got an attractive avatar, it can make you more confident in virtual interactions. Some even carry that boosted self-esteem into real life. It's like we take cues from our avatar's characteristics and start manifesting them, blurring lines between pixels and reality. Virtual anonymity provides freedom to explore aspects of identity without the risks associated with these behaviors in the offline world. It goes beyond escapism too. Think about gender expression. In virtual worlds, folks might adopt avatars of different genders to express parts of themselves they're exploring or feel restricted from showing in daily life. So whether it's aspiration, desire, or admiration, avatars often represent hidden facets of who we are, who we want to be, or even just who we want others to think we are. Honestly, Simon, next will probably be some big brain research linking your MMO character choice to your personality type, though they might struggle with your Greek myth pony dude buddy.
Hey, get this. If I made my avatar a billionaire with abs for days, does it mean I'll start tossing cash from a yacht or hit the gym more? Ha, defines power posing in the digital age.
That's hilarious, Simon, but it's not as far-fetched as you think. Donning the digital suit of Mr. Moneybags might not have you throwing Benjamins off yachts, but the psychological impact? It's there. If you've got an avatar that embodies wealth and fitness subconsciously, it starts to affect your behavior and decision-making. Studies suggest you might take bolder actions online because you're riding that high-status wave, even if your bank account's not feeling as flush. It doesn't necessarily mean you're hit with a sudden urge to max out bench presses, but hey, it could be inspiring enough to make you pick up that free gym pass you've been ignoring. This is where it gets real interesting, though. These virtual identity experiments impact self-perception outside the game, too. They can influence ambitions, behavior changes, heck, even social interactions. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. No amount of abs on your avatar is doing those crunches for you. Still, imagine the implications. Therapists using avatars for confidence building, setting professional goals with your digital billionaire self nudging you along. It's like these pixels are less about running from reality and more about painting aspirational pictures of who we can become. Far out stuff, right?
Let's flip it. What about the avatar with a chicken suit and rainbow afro? I made mine like that once, just for kicks. Suddenly, I'm the life of the party in every virtual room, cracking jokes I wouldn't dare offline. Turns outfit, my goofy pixel self might be the real me trying to bust out. Pixels meet psychology, and turns out they're throwing a wild party.
Yeah, Simon, that's a perfect example. Your chicken suit avatar is the embodiment of uninhibited self-expression. By choosing something so outlandish and humorous, you've given yourself permission to be bold, socialize freely, and tap into parts of your personality that perhaps feel constrained by societal norms. In a sense, these avatars are like masks at a masquerade ball. They provide anonymity, which can reduce social inhibitions and lead to increased openness. Just picture how wearing a mask in real life frees people up to act in ways they normally wouldn't. What's crucial to note here is the balance theory of avatar design, suggesting that we find equilibrium between our ideal self-representation and the need for consistency with our real-world selves. While the chicken suit represents a facet you'd like to embrace more often, it's also not too far from your actual sense of humor, a bridge between your digital and physical worlds. Another intriguing angle is how others react to your avatar, right? If they're chuckling at your rainbow afro and engaging with your jokes, suddenly there's this positive reinforcement loop happening. You crack a joke, they laugh, and bam, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, saying, "Hey, let's do that again." And this loop, it can follow you back offline, nudging you to slowly integrate those aspects into your everyday life. It's amazing, isn't it? How a few pixels arranged into a wacky avatar can have ripple effects on your psyche.
Imagine this. The digital chicken persona starts affecting your day-to-day. You begin cracking more jokes at work, wearing brighter colors. Suddenly, the line between Simon and Sir Clucks-a-Lot gets real fuzzy.
The Sir Clucks-a-Lot phenomenon is a hilarious thought, man. It just goes to show how our virtual choices influence our real-world actions. But hey, while we talk about choosing avatars that let parts of our personality shine, it's crucial to highlight that not everyone has the luxury of finding avatars that they feel genuinely represent them. Diversity in avatar options, we're talking race, body types, abilities, is still a big issue. Everyone deserves an avatar that mirrors their identity or lets them experiment with new ones comfortably, right? It's been a hot topic lately, with some games and platforms getting called out for not providing enough diverse representations. Now you see games getting praise for letting players adjust skin tones, body shapes, hairstyles, you name another characteristic. It's empowering. Those that fail to do so? They're definitely feeling the heat from player communities who want to see themselves reflected in these virtual worlds. This whole discussion on representation speaks volumes about how far we've come and how far we still need to go, so that folks like Sir Clucks can choose to wear a feathered suit alongside an embodiment that resembles their real-life self.
You just sparked a memory of playing this old MMO. I'd spend hours scrolling through avatar options, frustrated. My mate Sarah felt the same. She's in a wheelchair, right? But no option for that, not a single one. And me, with my love for off-the-wall fashion and bright colors, couldn't find anything that screamed me. We ended up jokingly settling on twin bald eagles. Majestic, yeah, but not exactly spot on. Crazy part? That game later got an update, more skin tones, body types, even accessibility features. The difference it made. Suddenly, logging in felt like jumping into our own little personalized corner of the universe. Sarah said it best. It's like finally being seen. Shows how important those choices are for people, doesn't it?
It's pretty wild, Simon. That switch from generic bald eagles to diverse avatars made your virtual world real. Shows how empowering it is when you can say, yeah, that pixel character, that's me. It sends a message. Everyone belongs in this digital universe. Adds a whole new layer to how we play and interact, don't you think?
Crazy thought. If we're all crafting our better-looking, cooler digital selves, are we creating the ultimate version of peer pressure? Like, my avatar's gotta keep up with your avatar now.
Oh, Simon, you nailed it. Avatars are like the new neighborhood where everyone's lawn has to be just as green or greener than the next guy's. For those just tuning in, we've been diving deep into the world of avatars, how these digital personas impact us, and the ongoing push for diversity that truly reflects everyone in these virtual landscapes. We shared a bit of nostalgia about older games with limited options and how times are changing, thankfully. Remember, it's all about having choices that let everyone feel seen and represented when they jump online. Keep up or create your own path? That's the question.
Sure thing, we've been talking avatars and diversity, critical stuff. Yet some platforms still fumble the ball big time. Not long ago, a huge game got roasted for its weak sauce avatar customization. We're in the 2020s and they had like 5 hairstyles and 3 skin tones. That's it. Come on now. On the flip side, when companies do get it right, whoa, the positive buzz is electric. Players praise games to high heaven because feeling represented is that powerful. And this isn't just fluff, it's about giving everyone a seat at the table, or in this case, a character in the game. It boils down to respecting your audience. You gotta show peeps in all their glory, shape, color, ability, so everyone can say, hey, that hero looks like me. Makes the virtual world richer for it. The debacle ain't just a small-time issue, it hits right at the heart of inclusion.
Absolutely, it's fascinating when a platform faceplants on something as basic as avatar diversity. We're way past the "it's too hard to program" excuse. This isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about recognizing that the user base is diverse and everyone wants a slice of the alter ego pie. But let's peel another layer off this thing. Say a game nails the representation part. Great, right? But then some argue that having more options makes choosing an avatar overwhelming. Others push back, saying we've had oversimplified choices for way too long. It's like going from 3 TV channels to streaming thousands of shows. Some folks freeze up making a pick. Then there's the quality question. Throwing in a bunch of half-baked features just to appear inclusive doesn't cut it. Gamers are savvy. They can smell checkbox diversity from a mile off. The representation has to be genuine, well thought out. So yeah, companies might get slammed for getting it wrong, but when they do listen and improve, it's a game changer. It challenges the whole industry. Listen to your audience, respect them, and you'll not only avoid a PR nightmare, but you'll build loyalty, community, and a better experience for everyone. It's high time the digital world caught up with reality.
Not to ruffle any feathers, but sometimes I wonder if some game devs are secretly aliens. Like, have they seen humans? We're a wild bunch. One size fits all won't cut it with us Earthlings.
Maybe they are, Simon, and if so, they need to seriously upgrade their Earthling observation equipment. It's about time for those devs to embrace the real variety down here.
So there I was, in my small hometown comic book shop, right? The owner, Dave. Great guy, but he's from another era. He only stocked superhero comics with the same buff guys and gals plastered across every cover. But flip the calendar a few years forward, Dave starts getting these new indie comics, rich with all kinds of protagonists. Next thing you know, his tiny shop is buzzing. People who never felt at home with capes and spandex were suddenly regulars, excited to see characters who looked or lived like them. Dave just shrugged. Business is business. Gotta give the people what they want. But it wasn't just about cash. He told me, months later, how the shop felt more alive now, and how he got why representation mattered, even in his little paper and ink world.
Dave's story is spot on and mirrors the avatar diversity issue. By broadening his stock, he opened up to new narratives, more experiences, effectively letting more people into his world, showing that representation in any medium, paper or pixels, enriches everyone's experience. When creators get it, when they see how different stories resonate with different folks, that's when we start seeing real change. And let's be clear, this isn't just nice to have, it's essential. The variety creates a closer connection, driving engagement and loyalty. Dave's little comic shop, that's a blueprint for the gaming world.
Wrapping up, kudos to Dave and every creator learning this lesson. Revamping avatars for diversity is no small feat. Cheers to those doing the heavy lifting. The thing is, do you think there's an endgame? Can we ever say, yep, we've ticked all the boxes, or is this a forever work in progress?
Kudos indeed, and it's a journey without a final destination. Diversity evolves as society does. There will always be new narratives, cultures, and identities to represent. It's the forever game of catch-up in the digital world. Speaking of digital avatars, let's shift gears for a sec. Beyond the important discussions about diversity, there's a lighter side to this. Have you seen those hilarious avatar design fails, where things go sideways and you end up more Picasso than portrait? They're all over social media. Avatars with impossibly long arms or eyes where their ears should be. Sometimes these design tool glitches serve up a good laugh amidst the serious business of self-representation. It adds a twist of comedy to the mix, right? What do you think? Are these facepalm moments just bugs we need to squash, or is there a slice of charm in the unpredictability they add?
Oh man, you just fired up a memory. So my cousin, total tech noob, decides to dip his toes into this avatar maker app, right? I'm watching him fiddle with the settings, and with each click, his avatar becomes less human and more like a creature out of a sci-fi flick where genetics went haywire. And then the masterpiece. His final avatar has one eyebrow, not above an eye, but smack on its forehead like some kind of fuzzy caterpillar crown. We laughed till we cried. It was supposed to be this straightforward process, but instead, it turned into a comedy show. You'd think he'd be all frustrated. Nope, he ended up sharing that monstrosity everywhere. Gaming groups, family chats, you name it. That bugged-out avatar got more love than any well-proportioned digital dude we've ever made. Goes to show, sometimes the wonkiness leads to the best stories.
Sounds like his digital Frankenstein's monster was a hit. It's wild how these slip-ups can turn into highlights. Perfect avatar crafting? Meh. Give us the quirky chaos any day. It's way more memorable.
Okay, memorable for sure, but let's poke that bear a bit. These fails are funny as heck, but remember the flip side. Gamers sometimes spend ages perfecting their digital twins. So when they end up looking like they got zapped by some wonky virtual ray, not always a laughing matter. Like this one time, my buddy crafted his avatar for an epic RPG saga, and I mean he was going into minute details, only for a glitch to swap his character's head with its hand. Imagine, an armored body running around with a palm for a face. Hilarious in hindsight, but at that moment, he was ready to flip his PC out the window. So yes, giggles all around when we get these screwy avatars, but remembering all the blood, sweat, and tears people pour into them, maybe devs should iron these kinks out. It's great when mishaps have us rolling on the floor, but let's not forget the righteous rage when you just wanted your noble knight to look, well, human.
A hand for a face. That's pure gold. Talk about handling the situation. Right, so you invest time crafting this avatar warrior, and then poof, your fearsome conqueror is more high five than high fantasy. I can't help but crack up at that image. But for real, getting that all sorted out is definitely on the devs. It's a balance, isn't it? We want those laughs, but not at the cost of someone's epic saga turning into a comedy sketch, unless that's their jam.
Sure, it's a balance, all right. We're all for fun and games until someone's digital pride and joy looks like they stuck their finger in an electric socket. Those glitches need fixing. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the absurdity. The laughs are part of the package, like getting free sprinkles on your ice cream when you just ordered plain vanilla. Unexpected, but pretty awesome when it happens. Just, not if you're lactose intolerant or something.
Free sprinkles for the win. The unexpected can unlock a load of joy, sure. Yet, let's not ignore the plain vanilla folks who just want their character to look as planned. These bugs aren't rare Easter eggs. They're more like detours on the road trip to an immersive experience. And when your digital avatar ends up looking like it survived a mythical electrical storm, it's a tad hard to take your quest seriously. Now the discussion we need is, should developers prioritize squashing these hilarious yet pesky bugs, or are they really just harmless fun adding character to the gaming world? The stories are a hoot and do tend to go viral, so maybe that laughter is just another way of drawing people in, like Dave did with his shop when he welcomed the wild and the wonderful. Devs might just be sitting back saying, hey, if it ain't breaking the game, it's making the game more known. What's your take, listeners? Do these glitches add flavor to your virtual escapades, or would you rather they were zapped into oblivion?
It's really something to chew on. Do these glitches need zapping, or are they the secret sauce to viral fame? Each glitch tells a story, and behind every wonky avatar is probably someone crying with laughter. Or just crying. Where do you stand, folks? Are those design fails a bug or a feature in your digital escapades? Keep the tales of virtual wackiness coming. They're the spice in our gaming stew.
All this talk about avatar glitches brings us to a curious thought. Picture this. As tech advances, we might hit a point where those avatars could become almost too real, sparking debates on AI and ethics. With today's tech, they're glitchy and funny. Tomorrow, they could be so sophisticated, you'd wonder if there's a mind behind that digital gaze. Imagine getting attached not just because your avatar looks cool, but because it starts to feel real, responding and adapting like a true sidekick. Where should we draw the line? Are we ready for the responsibility of coding character consciousness into these virtual beings? What happens when your digital companion seems to have thoughts or emotions? It's a whole can of worms, or should I say bites.
Yeah, and that's something to ponder. As we blur these lines, don't you think we might start treating these avatars with a certain level of kindness or respect because they seem conscious? What does that say about our understanding of what's real and not? Could we end up in one of those life imitates art kind of scenarios where the line gets so fuzzy we can't help but get attached?
Absolutely, and there's a fine line. As avatars flirt with the edge of consciousness, we wade into deep waters, attachment, moral responsibilities, even rights for digital entities. Sounds like sci-fi, but it's closer than we think. Our brains are wired to connect, so if an avatar interacts like a friend, it could trigger real emotional bonds. What does that mean for us? We might need a whole new rulebook for how we interact with these advanced avatars. Could law courts one day debate the humanity of our digital creations? It's fascinating and alarming, and let's not forget, sometimes what's technically feasible outpaces what's ethically acceptable.
It's tricky, right? Think about the kids growing up with these avatars. Say they're playing with an AI buddy that knows them, grows with them. That could deeply affect their social development. And what about us adults? Could we reach a point where some prefer the company of a perfectly coded avatar over the messy unpredictability of human relationships? Then there are legal and ethical implications. If an avatar learns and evolves, making decisions that impact the real world, who's accountable for those actions? The user? The developer? It's Pandora's Box 2.0, Digital Edition. We're stepping into territory where our creations might just echo back more than we bargained for.
Well, it's been a wild ride through the infinite pixels of Avatar world, from design disasters that crack us up to the impending dawn of AI consciousness. Thanks for joining Simon and me on this techno trek. Remember, we're back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern with more mind benders and laughs. Keep your avatars weird and your thoughts weirder. Catch you on the next wave of the Infinite Podcast.